Welcome back to Terp Trends. Today we got a returning guest, and he's not a chef, he's just a hungry guy. I welcome back Marco.Antonio. It's been 2 years since our first conversation, and a lot has changed in those years. In this episode, we dive into cannabis, content creation, minor cannabinoids, our health, and personal growth. This is a real honest conversation, and I'm genuinely glad we had the chance to reconnect and talk through it all. Marco, I appreciate you and the journey you're on. Everyone, be sure to check out his socials. His Instagram is at mrmarco.Antonio, and you can follow that all the way to YouTube as well, mrmarco.Antonio. This is Terp Trends. Let's dive in. Thanks for chiming into another episode of Terp Trends. And I know you know this man because he's been on this before. And we're reconnecting. We're going to do another one. It's been 2 years. And in that 2 years, we both have been doing more stuff. And I'm hoping we get to dive into that. So welcome back, Marco. What's happening?
Oh man, so much. Thanks for having me, back on the pod. A lot has happened. Had some, business ventures crumble. Had some new business ventures come into the mix. Been really focused on my health recently, so I'm actually taking it a little easy on the cannabis too. I'm not smoking as much. I'm not eating as much edibles. I still cook, with it if people, want me to, but for the most part, like I've kind of changed my habits a little.
Yeah. And was there anything like what sparked that,
I my weight mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck. If I, I would wake up. I'd wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's, go straight for a dab, and
Yep.
that kind of sets the whole day, which is fine. Some people have more self control than I probably had,
Yeah.
and once the eating would start,
It
I'd
doesn't
be
stop.
3,000 calories down at the end at the end of the day, so
Yeah.
mostly I just I needed to control that caloric intake, and so I wouldn't get all fat and shit. So
Yeah.
it's mostly that, and then developing a different appreciation for cannabis.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun to be high all day, but realistically, I've always viewed cannabis as a medicine, right? And I just found that respecting the plant and using the plant in ways that actually benefit my health rather than my fun
Yeah.
just seemed to work a little bit better. And it costs a lot less, right?
Yeah.
Man, I was spending like 600, $700 a month on
Oh yeah.
products.
Yeah.
Even though I'd make my own oils, I still wanted my favorite gummies. I still wanted a bunch of, like, I love Utopia gummies,
Yeah.
and they're little salted caramels, and like, yeah, I gotta, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
So
guilty.
yeah, saving money, saving my weight, and getting more uh, in shape and healthier. When you're stoned, you'll eat whatever as long as it
Yep.
tastes good. But if you're not, you'll focus more on what's healthy. At least for me, and how my self control works.
Yeah. No, and I think it's really important to highlight that because I think we all get into cannabis with enjoying the aspects of, getting stoned and the psychoactive activities that we face. But when we become adults, I think it's more important to be able to take that step back and understand, like, what is my real relationship with this plant? Like, if I'm going to be intentional with it, what does that really look like? And I do think probably 98 consumers of cannabis, we definitely all indulge a little more than we need to.
Yeah,
And I think that plant not having that threshold, like, yeah, you can green out, as I guess people call it, or whatever, but any type of other substance, like, kind of has that plateau where you hit and, like, you kind of have to stop consuming. But
yeah.
cannabis, like, you can do it all day. Like, you can just keep consuming cannabis. And it's, that's always hard to regulate when you don't have something that's like coming into play with it, you know?
I had this one moment. I was watching this interview with Exhibit, and he was talking about,
Civic.
Well, no, I was just watching,
Yeah,
online,
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
watching an exhibit interview, and he was saying, I can eat 1,000 milligram brownie, and I thought to myself, well, fuck, I could do that too. So I went out and I got one of those Corova 1,000 milligram brownies. I ate it, and it did almost nothing to me. And that was kind of like a wake up call for me. Like, damn, I'm really not that fucking high right now. What's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah,
And so a couple days later, I ate another one, and same thing. And I just saw that as like it's a huge problem. If
yeah.
1,000 milligrams, 1,000 fucking milligrams
That's
is
heavy.
not doing something to me, I was wondering why I would go through like a gram of of rosin a day,
Yeah,
and it was barely doing anything to me aside from giving me the munchies, you
yep.
know. And so I took a step back and realized, hey, I got to be more intentional with my use. So I had quit for I think like 3 months, and
It was
then
a while.
yeah,
I remember
around
this. I remember
Thanksgiving.
seeing it. I remember seeing the post about it. I was like, "Damn, all right, Marco, you're getting in shape. You're kind
Yeah.
of taking a break from cannabis." I'm like, "This is cool to see. This is really cool to see."
Well, in November on Thanksgiving, actually, I decided to try an edible. I was like, oh, 5 milligrams, it's gonna tear me up.
And
Five milligrams
how
didn't.
long were you off of it? How long was that break at this point?
I'd say 2.5, almost 3 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That should have been good. I should have been, my tolerance should have been reset. But I ate a 5 milligram edible, and I was like, this is nothing. So I ate
Yeah.
another 10 milligrams. Kicked in. I was like, this is weak. So I went for 50.
Yeah.
I went from
Yeah.
5, 10 to 50 milligrams. And 50 milligrams, it hit me okay, but it just felt like, damn, my tolerance didn't reset. And so the day after Thanksgiving, I had a 100 milligram edible, and yeah, it just felt like my tolerance hadn't reset. And I was like, man, this is a huge problem, So I quit again, and then about around New Year's, I decided to try it again, and this time I started with a 50 milligram edible, and it hit me okay. And I still feel like today, if I had like a 50 or 100 milligram edible, it's gonna hit, but it's like I kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted that feeling of like the first time you've had an edible,
Yeah.
first time you
Oh
smoked.
yeah.
I wanted that so bad. I wanted to feel like I was in a fucking dream again.
Yep. Yep.
Those first times where you smoke. I don't think I'm there yet. So, like today, I'm sober as shit.
Yeah.
And maybe next month I'll try around,
Yeah.
around the holidays, something special, or if I throw my back out, I'm gonna use some cannabis.
Yeah.
If I can't sleep, if I'm like really dealing with insomnia, I have these CBN gummies, THC CBN gummies. I'll have one of those.
Yeah.
So, trying to stick to the intentional stuff, but also like around the holidays where I feel like it's okay to relax.
Yeah.
I don't know if Valentine's Day is considered a holiday, but I'm planning on using, you know,
I think it
um,
is.
yeah, why not? Infused chocolate strawberry or 10, you know?
Dude, especially if your partner loves it too, and they're down with it. I mean, why
Uh,
not?
my
Why not?
wife won't. I got a funny story though. My
Yeah.
wife
What
and
you
I were
got?
in Vegas, and we
Yeah.
went to Planet 13.
I was gonna
I
say,
got
okay.
I got one of those 100 milligram drinks, and in the cap, it lets you measure out the dosage and stuff. And I was stoned out of my mind this day already, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll try it." And so I poured her a cap full, and I, not paying attention to where the line was, I thought I
Yeah.
gave her like 2.5, maybe 5 milligrams. No, I gave her
10.
30.
Oh,
I gave her 30, and she just like she greened out, blacked out, and I think
yeah.
she wanted a divorce that day.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
you know,
She
she
woke
won't
up the
do it.
next day fine, right?
Well,
Maybe a
yeah,
little weed hangover,
we went to a
Hey,
breakfast buffet. She was fine. You
dang.
know.
And that's the gloriness about cannabis. But so, Marco, before when you were like back in your heyday, always consuming, were you more edibles or were you smoking as well?
Both.
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 And
Dude, I would take like 100 milligram gummy or whole pack of gummies and then take a dab right after because it's like If I take a
Yeah.
dab, when I eat it, when it kicks in, the
You think
dab
it
will be
carries it?
kicking out.
Yeah. And so something we're learning is like certain people don't have an enzyme where their body can break down the edibles of THC, right? Do you think like maybe you just have something like that on why you can consume these high numbers and you're not getting that breakdown? Or like have you in the past been able to eat like 10 milligrams and feel it?
I think it's been so many years that
Yeah.
that I've been eating edibles that the
Yeah.
tolerance just builds up. So maybe my body develops, the
Something.
enzyme, or it's just there's something in there that because I used to be able to eat a 10 milligram edible and whew, I'd
Okay,
go
so
to the
you would
fucking
feel it
moon.
though. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
That's what I was
now,
kind of wondering. Yeah.
well, and then after spending a few years making my own edibles, man, I would make. I would make a little bottle of tincture, and
Yeah.
each dropper full, like the full
Yeah.
dropper, would be like a 5,000 milligrams. I'd put so much rosin in
Oh,
it. I'd put so much rosin, and my idea was like, okay, so like I did a few parties where I infused for people,
yeah.
and so I knew that each drop, I think, forget how many drops were in it, but I think one or two drops in my sauces would send everybody to the fucking moon.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's fun.
it
I would
was
like
fun.
that.
There was a few times where I just took it too far. Probably, I think there were times where I was doing 500 to 1,000 milligrams on my own, just at home with my droppers, just put it under my tongue and
Yeah.
just go.
Chill out. The most I've
Yeah,
ever done was a 1,000 milligrams. It was a CO2 like syringe, and it was R&D for a company, and they were trying to use it as a dabbable product, and I was just like, you don't want to dab CO2 stuff, like it's not going to be good. And they're like, well, have you tried it? I was like, no. So I recorded a video of me dabbing it on like a normal rig and just told them like it's so bad. Like it tastes so bad. Like it's not what a dab wants to taste like. So I was like, but I'll do you justice, and I put the rest on two watermelon Sour Patch Kids. And so it was like about 500 milligrams each. And I ate
man.
those, and that's probably the most intoxicated cannabis consumption I've ever had. It was wild, but then you just go to sleep. You eat some food and you go to sleep. But edibles, man, they could really send people if they aren't used to it. I've seen people get misdosed, and same with concentrates. It's something you want to have a little more dialed in.
Yeah, in the liver it converts to what, delta 11 hydroxy or delta
Something like
hydroxy,
that.
something like. It's different. It's not D9 that like
No.
when you're smoking you get that delta 9 effect, but when
Yeah.
it processes in your liver, it's stronger, it's longer, and I would tell people you could think of it as like being attached to an IV drip bag, and your
Yeah.
liver is just that drip bag, and it's just dripping into your bloodstream for like 8 hours.
Yeah. And how is it consuming? You mentioned you'll take like a CBN gummy. How is the other like cannabinoids? Do you feel like your body is more accepted to them because you're predominantly taking THC? Like, does the CBN, do you need a high dose of CBN for you to feel anything?
You know, to be honest, I'm really not sure. I have these 10 milligram gummies. They're
Okay.
10 milligrams THC, and I want to say they're equal amount CBN. But if I were to eat them to go to sleep, they put me to sleep. Like I
Yeah. Good.
have a
Good.
nice sleep. But something weird happens when I have edibles. I get these things called I call them sleep starts. I think they're called hypnic jerks, where as you're falling asleep, you feel like you're falling, and it jerks you
Oh,
out
you
of
jump.
bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I'd get severe
And just
hypnic
like,
jerks. Like
whoa,
I'd get like 10 of them in a row, and my
really?
wife would just be tripping out because it's almost like it would like yank me
Yeah.
out of bed. I'd jump completely. I'd do that like 10 times and then fall asleep. But with the CBN, it might happen once, maybe twice, and then I'm just knocked out.
That's so interesting, man. I've never heard that before.
It's so weird, especially when I would do the high dose edibles
Yeah.
back in the day. Man, they'd feel somewhat violent. I'd scream. I'd be
Yeah.
like falling asleep and ah, and I
Yeah.
just
I'm
jump.
sure.
It'd feel
There's
like
that
my heart
feeling
was
of,
exploding.
oh, that'll do something to you though, you know?
It's crazy. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but uh,
How was it getting used to so I did like a 3 month tea break. I did no cannabis and no caffeine as well. And it was gnarly, dude. So how was it for you adjusting, not only not using cannabis, but like creating the content around it and everything like that? Because that was kind of a pivot, you know?
yeah, first off, the creating content with cannabis, these apps just don't like it. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Some people they get away with it completely, but for my accounts, it's like the apps just didn't like it. All the videos were being taken down, demonetized. That whole year that I was infusing on social media, I wasn't making any money. No
Yeah.
brands wanted to work with me. A few cannabis brands worked with me, but it wasn't much. I think I made maybe 20 or 30 grand
Yeah.
versus, before I had made 150 grand, from social media brand deals and views, etc. You know, um, so with the apps it was kind of tough, and so I had to kind of let that go. Like, I got to decide, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to keep making content for nothing?
Yeah.
Like I love cooking and making the videos and stuff, but if it's not profitable in some way, if it's not supplementing some part of my income, I can't justify continuing to do it. And so a lot of these apps, you see people like, there's this one girl that I follow. She'll hold up a stack of gummies and say, "Oh, we're gonna go get a burger," and then she shoves them in her mouth, and then she goes to get her burger. I was kind of doing the same thing. Like, I'm gonna
Yep.
eat this and then
Yeah.
eat this.
Yeah.
The apps didn't like it for some reason. It was like I couldn't do it, but all these other people could. So, I guess I got to respect where I'm at with these platforms. So I stepped away from it.
Yeah.
But quitting and taking that break was rough. People say that there's no addiction to cannabis. There's really no physical addiction. It's all in the mind. But
Yeah.
still, your mind fucks with you. And
Dude.
when you do anything in excess for a long period of time, it could be caffeine, it could be cannabis, it could be fucking crack. You
Yeah.
stop using it, you stop using it, you're gonna feel something. So one thing that caught me by surprise is that you can get withdrawals from not using cannabis. You
Really?
know, oh man, I couldn't sleep for weeks.
Yeah.
My appetite was completely gone. My energy was low. I had a little head sickness going on. It was very strange, and I posted something about it on one of the platforms, and I had
Yeah.
a lot of people like, "Oh, you pussy! There's no withdrawal from cannabis." I'm like, well, how much are you doing? Because I was doing like 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams a day when you add up the dabs and the edibles. You do anything in excess, there's going to be some kind of biological change inside of you, and you're going to feel it. If people say, people would say, "Oh, I just get a few sleepless nights and I can't eat for like a week." That's withdrawal, buddy.
Yeah.
That's withdrawal. It may not be intense like crack, but
Yeah.
it's still some sort of withdrawal. So that was a little rough for me.
Yeah. No, it's I feel that my sleep was an issue, and because I use it to sleep, um my attention, especially kicking the caffeine, was really hard. Like I was just in like my head was so like, and I couldn't
Yeah.
get my tunnel vision. Like if I consume um in a regulatory way, it's not the weekend, right? So it's a weekday. It's going to be later in the day. I don't really consume at all in the morning anymore. Um, and I can now focus without it. But before, it was just like, yo, I need this. And for years, that was my crutch on my focus. Like, I don't want to do Adderall or anything that I'm prescribed. I just want to be natural. Um, but as people deny that that you can have withdrawal from cannabis, I suffer from that weed allergy that we're deeming called CHS. So I have to
Shit.
be very careful with my intake amount, what I'm consuming, and how I'm consuming, because I've been admitted to the hospital several times for a weed allergy.
Wow.
Now it's under control. Um, but I'll see people commenting threads on that, and they're like, "This is not true. This is a psyop. They're trying to demonize weed." It's just like, no, it's true. Like very gluttonous when it comes to the consumption of this plant because it doesn't have a threshold. So we all just consume it, and we'd be naive to think it wouldn't have repercussions. Everything has a repercussion. So I think it's important to understand how to use that in moderation. But for the people that are listening, yes, you can go through some withdrawal symptoms. Yes, you will get through it, but it is just re-regulating and recreating your habits. Because at this long of using, like you and I can probably relate, like it's just a habit. You get to a
Yeah,
certain hour of the day, oh, cannabis stuff, like, oh, I'm taking a dab just to take a dab. I don't necessarily need a dab, but
I just want
it's a
to.
it's a
Yeah,
habit, you know.
yeah.
So how
I
is it
think
kicking those for you?
kicking the man, the ritual of rolling a blunt, the
Yes.
ritual of setting up
Yes.
my rig or my, even just my Puffco. It felt good. It was a part of
Yep.
me. I do miss it, but at the same time, I recognize that I don't need it as much as I was doing it. I didn't need it as much as I was doing it. Um,
Yep.
but I have some health issues where cannabis is completely beneficial to
Yeah.
to helping me out. I have a really bad back, and so I tend to throw my back out like once a month, and I'm out for a whole week.
Yeah.
So in that situation, cannabis can be really helpful. Comparing it, I don't mean to compare it to painkillers, but if you look at cannabis like a painkiller, I had a heavy addiction to Percocet and Oxy back in the day,
Yeah.
and it doesn't kill the pain, but it
Yeah.
gives you enough euphoria that you don't notice the pain. And cannabis can kind of work the same way. It gives you enough euphoria to where the pain doesn't bother you as much, and then it's not as detrimental to your health as taking a bunch of pills. You're not killing your liver. you know uh, I think a lot of people also don't realize how different uh, the whole cannabis world is now, especially with edibles, specifically with edibles and like the vape cartridges, right? Because as I made a few products. I had a barbecue sauce, I had a
Yep.
hot honey. They're both discontinued now. What I learned from being in that part of the industry is that there's so many products out there that are just D9. They're just
Yeah.
Delta 9. And there's no full spectrum effect. You don't have a balance from the whole plant. So a lot of these people that are, smoking the vape pens or, eating the edibles, what they're getting is only THC. There's no balance with CBD, CBG, CBN. And when you learn about that full spectrum, you get to kind of understand how people develop CHS, or they
Yeah.
get the withdrawal symptoms when they quit, because you're not using the plant anymore. Now you're just using one chemical, right? And you're just getting high. You're not doing anything else within the body. You're not giving your body what nature intended for you to get, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, they're just constantly consuming massive amounts of THC. I got a buddy that he goes to the dispensaries and he gets the high THC bud, which is great. It's fun, and I commend him because, he's still smoking the buds, or, my friends that still smoke the rosin or the live resin, like you're still getting full spectrum,
Yeah.
when you get away from that full spectrum, I think that's where it really becomes a problem in the body. I'm no scientist on it or anything, but that's my theory on it. It has to be, when we get away from using nature and then we just dumb it down to the one little piece that gets you high. I don't think that's good. I think that really fucks with us in a lot of ways. And I think the withdrawal effects that I felt from taking such a long break. I think that's why, because I was so far away from full spectrum stuff in most cases.
Yeah. No, and I think that's so great that you said that because coincidentally enough, the brand that I'm launching or helping launch in New Jersey, we are an all ratioed gummy. So we have 8 different SKUs, but 8 different cannabinoids in that as well. So we have the THCV with THC CBD. We have a macro CBN THC CBD and CBGs and CBCs. And I myself, being a predominant THC user, never understood. Yeah, I understand full spectrum, but I never understood like how all these minor cannabinoids really play their own role in
Yeah.
our bodies and how we absorb cannabis and then how we make it functional, right? And it's been such an awesome journey. Shout out Coast Cannabis, learning that. And maybe now, like, THC is not my predominant cannabinoid. I love CBG. I have a messed up
Nice.
stomach. It's really nice to have something natural that I can take that I know is trusted and true and give me the effects that I was, I think, always looking for with THC. Like, we find these certain strains that do these wonderful things.
But yeah, when people start to truly learn, about the different cannabinoids, like you mentioned CBG, that's anti-inflammatory. I think what grows from the earth, when we respect it for what it truly is rather than fucking with it, then we get the full benefit. When I was making my products, we did a blend. We did a 1-to-1 ratio with CBD, and even
Hmm.
now, I'm learning that was wrong. There should have been more CBD than we were putting in it because of the effect on the body. Um, it's just it's so important to really not fuck with nature,
Yeah. No, I
and
agree
just
to that.
if you're gonna eat an apple, you eat the apple. You don't just drink its juice. You
Yeah.
need that fiber, right? Don't fuck with nature. Like, you could drink apple juice, don't get me wrong, but if you eat the apple, then you get the fiber and you get the juice. You know what I'm saying? So there's more benefit to the body when we don't fuck with the plants too much.
Yeah.
You know, and so a lot of
Uh,
people, they're eating these gummies and doing these things that are just THC. You might develop an allergy. You might have
yeah.
withdrawals when you decide to.
Yeah. No, I think it was a heavy THC for me. I think the my first real episode, I was opening of stores in Pennsylvania. Hydrocarbons were a huge thing in the market because it was new here. It was a lot of live resins, a lot of diamonds, and a lot of lack of knowledge around what it means to create a quality live resin and a quality diamond. Yeah, it was sold in a med program, but our whole industry is so um in its youth stages where we don't really know a lot of this stuff yet. Like, yeah, we have people that are doing the sciences, these wizards in these concentrate labs, but there's still a lot unknown on how it reflects on our body and what it looks like. And I think it's silly. Like, it's just really naive for people to think like there wouldn't be a side effect. There's too many of us that are so different where this plant is going to affect us all in every other way. Like, you and I are going to have a different interaction and effect from cannabis, and we could share the same joint. And it's
Yeah.
just the way that your body breaks it down. Um, so it's cool to now have products to do the minor cannabinoids and everything like that to understand that more encompassed vision of stay true to the plant. It's more of
You
a
know,
full spectrum.
one of the most mature things you can do with cannabis is, if you find a strain, you go to the dispensary, or you go to the dispensary, you buy an eighth, quarter, whatever it is, you smoke it, and you're like, man, this, I didn't like this, and you take notes on it and
Yep.
understand how you feel. Then you go back to the dispensary, you find a different strain, and you're like, whoa, this really works for me, and you start to understand that. I think if more people did that, then they would understand that benefit of that full spectrum, because what works for you is probably not going to be just Delta 9. You know,
Exactly.
it's
Yes.
gonna it's gonna be that full spectrum, or a balance of other cannabinoids that really play a role in your body. And again, I'm no scientist on it. It's just some of the things that I think I've noticed. I've been using cannabis since I was 12, and I'm 43. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. No, I think and that's something I always told people in the stores as well. So I did a lot of bud tender. Started as a bud tender and then got really big into like bud tender trainings, sales trainings and stuff like that for companies. And one thing I always advise is a cannabis journal, but don't just write your effects. You need to write down the cannabinoids and you need to write down the terpenes and you need to write down the percentages of what each is reflecting. Because if you like that strain, now you have the DNA pathway to like what you're looking for as a consumer. And now you can take that DNA and try to match it where if that grower say they cut that crop and they're not doing cycles of it anymore. Well, now you're left in the gray area of like, well, shit, like that strain really helped me and now that's gone. But if you have that DNA, you can now cross-reference that with other strains that are available and try to find something that's similar. But
Exactly.
it's
And a lot of people don't realize you're not going to find that with today's edibles. You go
no,
buy a pack of gummies, 9 out of 10 of them are going to be just Delta 9, and
yeah,
there's people out there that just want to get high, get that,
oh,
respect to
100%.
you, do your thing.
Yep,
I think as we get older and we mature a little bit, we start to realize I got to do things that are more beneficial to me, the person,
yeah,
rather than the fun I want to have in the moment.
yeah. And I think cannabis is such a positive wellness tool that we can use and can adapt to that lifestyle very easily once you learn how to use it as a wellness tool. Um,
Absolutely.
and it's important. I think we all crave these cannabinoids. So what's it how do you feel like once you got over everything? Like how you feeling? Because you're back on, are you back on your tea break right now?
Yeah, yeah. So I've been back on the tea break since the beginning of the year. So
Yeah.
New Year's Day, I decided to consume, and I had a really good time. And I did eat a bunch of gummies that were just Delta 9, but
Yeah.
I also bought a gram of some rosin,
Nice.
that way I can kind of keep my full spectrum. And the rosin had the cannabinoids that I liked.
Yeah.
Um, but my energy is up. My
Nice, dude.
mind is clear. I noticed that, excuse me, I noticed that when I was using heavily, I was making a lot of excuses to get shit done.
Yeah.
And now
What
that
do you mean? What do you mean by that?
well, for me, I just became somewhat lazy.
Okay.
Just tons of excuses like, oh, I got to make content today. But then I'd be so stoned and you know what? I don't want to set up the camera. I don't want to have to, damn, I got
Yeah.
to figure out a new angle. Oh, what am I going to cook? Oh, I'm not even hungry for that today. I
Yeah.
planned something yesterday and today I don't even want to eat that. So now I'm figuring out something last minute. Then I get
Yeah.
discouraged and I take a dab and, just fuck it. I'm just going to chill, so that's just one example of me just pushing my responsibilities and things that I needed to do and get done to the side. And now that I've slowed my roll on that stuff, I find myself being a lot more productive. I get a lot more things done. And then, I haven't gotten to this point yet, but at some point it'll be, hey, I got my work done.
Yeah.
I could take a dab.
Yep.
I could roll a joint. I could roll a blunt. It's fine. As long as I'm being productive again and getting things done that I'm supposed to, then
Yeah.
it's like a reward. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but
I
then
think it should
again,
be like that.
it should be. But at the same time, I also keep in the back of my mind that it has to benefit me in the moment too. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to just sit there and be high out of my mind. I mean, if I have the time to do it and I have the free time to just kind of relax, what's the problem? No problem.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, um, but I really want to be mindful about it. I throw my back out and I need something to ease the pain. Cannabis. Can't
Yeah.
sleep. I'm feeling a little sick. Maybe I get the flu or something. Cannabis. You know, uh, just being more mindful. How is it really going to benefit what I'm doing for the day? How I feel for the day? How is it going to improve all those things? You know, that's the thing that I keep like at the forefront. But since I've slowed down, I'm a lot more productive. And there's people out there that, hey, they're super productive on cannabis all day, every day. My hat is off to you people.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We're not
I'm not
stopping you.
like you.
Yeah.
I'm
We're not
not like
stopping
you.
you. No, me
I will
neither.
make excuses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I say it all the time, especially now I have to be more public focused and more public, like more in the public with everybody, with educations and just like store launches and things like that. And man, I'm not as outgoing or I am, but I really have to push myself to be like that. And maybe I'll use that as like through energy drinks to bring my outgoingness if I have been sessioning the whole time with my Puffcos or like something like that. And I've learned to like, yo, if you got a long day and you're dealing with people, like, yeah, cannabis is really cool, but like you can't really be the self you really need to be right now. So save that shit for the ride home, and I think it's been very beneficial. And I tell people that when I talk about this brand is like once you learn your intentions with this plant and how to use it as a wellness product or just like more self-forward product, you can be a little more outgoing. Because if I was just sitting here sessioning my rosin pen, like I don't think I'd want to talk to you as long as I am right now.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, "Yo, cool. Have you heard of us? Yo, that's sick, dude. Like, have a good day." And uh, not having that has been way more beneficial to me and my productivity of talking about cannabis and just like my professionalism. Um, but again, there are people that can be the same way all the time, and I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. But
All power to them.
I've been enjoying taking that step back and having my tolerance be low again and only using it in certain scenarios for certain reasons. And I really only indulge on the weekends, maybe in the evening time when I'm all settled. But I need to, I just had another guest I was talking to. He's like, man, you got to earn that blunt at the end of the day. And I was like, that's such a cool thing to say. And I was like, I think I'm taking that approach more too. Like, you got to earn it. Like, achieve some things and then consume. Um, and that's in these scenarios only fits the individuals it fits for. There's people use this plant for all different reasons. So always enjoy how you use it, but respect other people because we are in a gnarly industry and people are very filled with their own thoughts that are very stubborn and outward with these thoughts when you go against it, especially in the
Yeah.
cannabis realm,
Oh
from what
yeah.
I've noticed. It's kind of gnarly, it's such a plant on community, but man, that community can turn pretty quick when they don't like what you're saying about the plant, you know?
It's crazy because weed is nothing like alcohol, but
Yes.
the usage of an alcoholic and the usage of someone that's smoking all day, there's some similarities there. You know, a lot of people will have a drink once in a while, and that's I think that's a majority of people. And you do that to kind of relax. You do that to socialize a little bit. Weed can kind of be the same thing. It's just being mindful about it. I don't know. I don't want to. I just don't want to feel like I'm out of my mind all
Yeah.
day. Because my if I smoke all day, my personality just I suppress it.
Yeah.
Just like what you said, I may not want to talk that long. I just want to shut the fuck up and have a
Yeah.
snack or two
Yeah.
snacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Maybe three, depending on how I'm feeling.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've had this discussion with people, and as soon as I start attacking chronic use in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or form, a lot of people get defensive, and it's like, eh, well, you're defending an addiction of some kind.
Yeah.
A lot of people really do get to that point where we don't want to admit, hey, I'm addicted to something, but dude, I was addicted to weed. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
I needed it when I woke up, throughout the day, going to sleep, before I ate, after I ate, take a shit, need to smoke some weed, wipe my
Yep.
ass, gotta take a dab.
Yep.
For what? That's an addiction, and people don't want to look at it like that, but that's the reality. But people will fight you on that because we don't want to admit where we're wrong on things.
Yeah.
But again, there's those people that just they can thrive all day every day on it. Good for them. A lot of us are just not that kind of person. I can only speak for myself. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to thrive on it. Being on it all day every day, my personality is going to be suppressed. You'll find me in awkward conversations with people because it's like we start talking and the brain dead just kind of kicks in,
Yep.
and I got nothing to say. I got no fucking words. Like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
Uh,
I do.
yeah, so a lot of people just don't want to admit that they have some kind of addiction to it, even with coffee.
Yeah.
A lot
Oh,
of people, they
caffeine's
got to go to
gnarly, dude.
Starbucks. Dude, people got to
Caffeine
go to
is
Starbucks
gnarly.
every single morning. They're like, oh, I can't start my day without coffee. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Don't
Yes, you
talk
can.
to me until I had my coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an addiction of some kind. It just may not be as intense as like a heroin addiction, a pill addiction, crack addiction, alcohol addiction. It may not be as intense as that, but in a lot of ways,
It's
it
still
kind of
there.
is. It's
Yeah.
there.
It's there. How has it been getting back into, did you have a problem eating at all? Like
I
getting back
did.
into eating and an appetite? Because that was my biggest thing too, was I just didn't really have a palate anymore. And all I ate was just like fuck, chicken, vegetables, potatoes, like real bland. And it's once you kind of get over that and you get your appetite back, dude, it's so magical. And you're a
Dude,
foodie, you know what I mean?
for
It's
about
brutal,
2 weeks, food wasn't fun at all.
dude.
Wasn't fun. My favorite things to eat, my favorite things to cook, it wasn't fun at all.
Yeah,
But after those 2 weeks, it was like it came back and things were delicious again.
yep,
So that was probably one of the toughest parts of that, and the lack of sleep.
yeah,
Those were really tough. But when they come back, oh, dude, and what people don't talk about enough is the dreams.
yeah.
Holy shit,
Intense,
bro!
right?
Last night, I had an intense dream, and
Yeah,
it's just so weird. I don't even want to talk about it. Well, fuck it.
it's up to you.
It's
It's up to
it's so weird. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I found myself in a hotel room with my wife, and she left to go do something, and I sang "Happy Birthday" to Satan,
Damn.
and there was like
Was he
this
there?
blue.
Like he was there? Like
No,
there's a
I
no?
don't know. In my dream, I'm
Yeah,
singing "Happy Birthday" to Satan, and there's this blue mannequin that you can hang your jacket on in the room, and it
yeah,
started to move, and I woke up, and I was just I was tripping out. Like, why the fuck would my brain even create that kind of situation?
yeah,
You know? And it felt like I was there. It's just the dreams are so intense that you feel like you're really outside of your body in a new dimension. Now, let's be clear. I don't worship no Satan or anything like that. I'm not
yeah,
down
yeah,
with that
yeah.
kind of bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
But so
Glad you
so for
cleared
me
that
to
air
have
real quick.
yeah, so this was a very, very weird dream. And I was telling my wife about it this morning, and I was like, it kind of fucked with my head a little bit because, it felt like I was really there and this really happened, but the dreams, when they come back with a vengeance.
Yeah,
Like
man.
you will totally feel like you're in another dimension, experiencing another reality. At least for me, that's what it was. And I've read that a lot of people experience the same thing because when you're on the cannabis, your dreams are suppressed, or
100%.
when you wake up, you don't remember
Don't
them at
remember.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now, fuck, dude, I have a whole dream journal. I've had some strange dreams. I was a fish once, bro. I was
Yo,
a fish just
word?
swimming through the ocean.
Was it
You
sick?
know, bro, I was like next to whales, just swimming through the ocean. That's all it was. It was just I was a fish. Like, you ever seen that old movie? Uh, that guy, he was like, I wish I was a fish. It's a very old movie, I think from the 70s or 60s. I don't remember the name of it, but
I'll have to look
I
it
was a
up.
I was a
Yeah,
fucking fish swimming with whales.
that's sick. I want
And
that
when I
dream.
woke, dude, I woke up and I was a little bit sweaty, not a whole lot, but like I was beating on my forehead a little bit,
Yeah,
and that tripped me out. I was like, oh shit, I was really underwater. I
yeah.
told my
Your
wife I
whole
was
bed's
with the
wet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Oh,
well,
fuck.
not that bad, not that bad, but I told my wife I swam with the fucking whales. And she was just like, "Shut up! What are you talking about?" But the
Yeah,
dreams, they're so intense, and now that's one of the things that I actually grasp onto day to day because I look forward to them. So if I, these days, yeah, I really look forward to the dreams, and that keeps me from using cannabis. Because I want to go somewhere when I sleep for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird,
no,
but
it's not weird. Lucid dreaming is a
it's
really cool thing. I had a past guest, Stephanie Abrams. Sorry if I butchered that, Steph. You won't hear this, so it's fine. Maybe you will. But so we got into different herbs, and she's really into lucid dreaming. And I think it was like Blue Lotus, and there's one or two other ones that she recommended to like get into that deep trance. But kicking cannabis or going on a tea break or just slowing your consumption is going to play a huge role in that because I can tell you, man, there's some days I wake up and I'm just like, yo, I was just in a, like my head. I'm like, I feel like I was just in a trip. That dream was so real and so vivid and just like bizarre. And like you wake up like exhausted. I talked to my lady about it because I'll have weird dreams, like you said. And like you wake up like you went through that experience.
yeah.
And it's really weird that cannabis does that. or doesn't do it when you're not or when you're consuming it, you know. So what else?
I posted something about the dreaming on one of the apps, and there was a few people that were like, "Oh, I don't want to have nightmares." And for me, like I don't care if it's a nightmare or it's something
Yeah.
good. I really crave that lucid dreaming experience. It's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I got pages. So I think I'm like 50 pages in on my journal on the different types of dreams that I've had, and they're wild.
Yeah. My favorite is I have a lot of flying dreams where I can fly. And there's always a point in a dream where I realize that I can do it and then I can start doing it. And
Oh,
it's
shit.
I've had a lot of dreams where I realize I can do certain things in the dream and then I can do it. And it's I don't know, I'm a big Dragon Ball Z anime fan, so maybe that ties into it too. You know, they're always flying around and doing stuff, but yeah, there's been multiple occasions where I know I'm dreaming, I'm aware of it, and I'm aware of what I can do in the dream. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I can do it a couple times in the dream. Sometimes I try and then I can't. And it's the dream world's wild.
I've had
Because
the dreams. So I've seen on TikTok a bunch of videos. I just went down a rabbit hole about a month ago, and people go to this place called Mall World. So I
okay,
purposely watched a ton of videos on this Mall World to try to get there. I haven't gotten there yet, but I want to get to a point where I can control it like that, where you notice, hey, you could fly and you start flying. Oh man, I can't
it's
wait to get
weird.
to that point.
It's really
But you see,
weird.
holding on to that feeling of like, hey, I want to dream and I want to control it. It keeps me
Yeah,
from doing the cannabis. You know,
yeah.
um, yeah. For some reason, it's fun. Yeah, the dreams are fun.
No, I think it's great, and I think it's something that at the end of the day, we always try to look forward to something that's going to happen in the future to hold us. I think that's just like our cycle as humans. Like we always look for what's next or what's happening in the future. And I think if you can have something in your day that you look forward to at the end of it, I think that's very important. And at least yours is now very healthy, you know.
Healthier, I guess.
Yeah.
I still got some things to work on with my diet, but for the
Yeah.
most part, yeah, healthier.
I mean, you're looking good, man. So it looks like you got some things dialed in. What has been working for you? What's been helping? Because that's not only is kicking cannabis one thing, but to then to go on like a diet change and a health journey, like that's a whole other beast to just start and then stay in. There's two
Most
parts to that.
most days, I do the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I don't need to wake up and have breakfast or anything. Right
Yep.
now, I'm having an energy drink. It's only 10 calories, but I probably won't eat until like 4 o'clock, and I
Yeah.
do well with that. One of the things I love doing is I love incline walking with a weighted vest.
Cool.
That I love that. It feels good when I'm done with it. I kind of have that runner's high a little bit, and I'm just
Yeah.
walking. But I'm
Yeah.
walking at the steepest incline on my treadmill. I put on a TV show on Netflix or YouTube. I like
Yeah,
watching
man.
van life videos on YouTube.
Dude,
Um, it
one and the
it
same.
looks cool. It looks
Yo.
cool,
Yes. Yes.
But I just get on the treadmill, throw on the vest, and I just walk for like an hour, hour and 20 minutes. And I've dropped a lot of weight just doing that. Now I've started to
Yeah.
mix the weights back in, but the incline walking with the weighted vest, man, I dropped a lot of weight doing that.
Nice.
And
Nice.
then if you track everything using some kind of app, I use my Fitness Pal. It gives me extra calories to eat,
Yeah.
so I don't feel bad when I have a really big meal at the end of the day. Like if I want to have a burger and fries, I have enough calories for it. I'm a huge believer in it's not really, it is what you eat, not so much what you eat, but it is what you eat.
Yeah.
You still gotta, you want to eat healthy, but you really don't want to go over calorie so
Yeah.
you don't gain weight. And that's my biggest thing. I just don't want to gain the weight. So if I work out and my Fitness Pal gives me 600 calories back, then I don't feel too bad having a double cheeseburger, fries, and dipping my fries in mayo because that's the best thing to dip your fries in. You know what I'm saying?
Heard that. Heard that. I mix it with a little ketchup sometimes, but
Hell yeah.
uh That's just me. And for people that don't understand, like Marco is coming from a big food background. Like he was really big in the barbecue culture, really big in just like the cooking culture and just a self cook at home for many years. Like that is what he did. So we're not talking about a normal person just like making food or that likes food. Like he was engulfed in food. Um, so that's a whole nother element because I'm just comparing it to what I went through and like I love food. I would say I'm a decent chef at home. I can create some pretty good culinary stuff. And it's man, when you lose the appreciation for that for a minute and you're not satisfying your taste buds at the same time, like it could be a little detrimental to your
It
mental
can be.
stability.
It
Food's
can be.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I gotta have something delicious every single day. If my food addiction, that's something that's never. I'm always gonna be addicted to good food, but now
Yeah.
I'm in this mental place where I'm gonna earn it. I know, like, I want
Earn
to
that
have.
plate.
Yeah, I want to have a big ass plate of Mongolian beef from the authentic Chinese spot down the road.
Yeah.
Man, I just got to earn it. You can eat whatever you want. You got to earn it so you don't end up not fitting in your clothes, not liking what you see in a mirror,
Yeah.
feeling depressed because you just feel like a fat ass. You
Yep.
know, um, it's just you got to earn the things that you want in life. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Nothing is free. Nothing could be. You can't overdo it and think you're not going to pay any consequences for it. You will, at least, for my biology and my body. I can't just eat everything that I want to without earning it. I got to treat my body right. I got to treat my mind right, and then you can kind of do what you want within limits. I think you still got to have some limits and stuff, but with anything in life, you got to earn it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's it like jumping back into like creating dishes and doing all that now without, because the cannabis help that creativity?
Um, I
Do
don't
you
know if
think?
it helped the creativity. It helped the cravings. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, yeah, I'm still the creativity is still there. I don't think cannabis ever made me more creative. I think that was an illusion, just something that I told myself. Because now that I have a clear mind, like I have a whole like list of things that I want to cook where I'd never done that before with cannabis, and
Like
now I
making a
have
list out.
ideas. Dude, I have a
Word.
whole cook. I got a 50 recipe cookbook, of ideas,
Let's
that
go.
I want to do, and so I'm just going through them one by one with my content, writing it down, taking the pictures for that moment where I'm gonna put this cookbook out. So, um, you know, I don't know if I'm more creative or more productive. I think there's a balance there now. Um, I think I'm more conscious to everything. I don't know. My mind is just clear, so I could sit there and come up with the ideas.
And I'm a firm believer of something that I call divine timing. And I think there's a reason you were able to do everything you were in the past. I think there's a reason why you went through some current things that are now pushing you to be the person you are now, to now setting you up to the person you're going to become or what you're supposed to become towards that ending goal. That's kind of my spiritual compass that I kind of think about where whatever this is, whatever we're floating in, energy, simulation, stardust, whatever it is, I feel like there's some certain things that definitely influence that. And when you are able to lock into that trajectory, that frequency, that whatever it is, um, it can get you there. But we ignore it often and we try not to accept that we do need to change sometimes. But once you get over it and you stay in that motion, I really think like things just start happening and
Yeah.
clicking again. So I hope
With
you're
there's
feeling that.
Yeah, there's an old saying, everything happens for a reason and a purpose, and it's there to serve you.
Yeah.
My whole journey with using cannabis and then kind of quitting and slowing down and being more mindful about it, it's going to lead me to the next thing. Well, everybody's going to be different. For me,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a bit of divine timing with all of this, and it's going to lead me to the next thing, and a lot of things are coming up that are going to be really great and that I need my mind to be present for. So all of this is happening at a time in my life where it's meaningful and there's a purpose to it and it's starting to manifest itself.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah.
Let's go, Marco. Let's go. Well, we'll stay in touch, man, and we'll learn down the road what these things are you're manifesting, just like that little quick drop of that cookbook that may be
Hell yeah.
happening. But shit, I'll buy the first copy. You just let me know, man.
Right on.
My man, I appreciate you, dude. I know that this not only is the cannabis journey gnarly, but the health journey is gnarly, but I'm glad that you're coming out on top of it. And I'm glad you're figuring some stuff out and you're getting clicking again. And that's magical because you're about to be a whole new beast, you know?
Indeed.
Indeed. My man. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Marco.